today is going to be filled with learning and fun, and I can't wait for you all to meet the guests. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to our Toastmaster of the day. I know we have a lot of guests. Maybe at the end we'll get a chance to just intro everybody real quick, see where they're from, because I know we have a lot of Toastmasters on and a few guests as well. So again, David Carr, thank you so much for putting this together. I'm going to let you go ahead and introduce your guest today.
All right. Thank you, Tricia. My name is David Carr. I am the VP of Public Relations for the club this year, and I've been trying to public relations the heck out of this event. But it looks like the number of people in the meeting is growing moment by moment, so that's a good sign. We were trying to reach out and get some people who maybe weren't necessarily in Toastmasters before, or I think at least one person listed that they had a little bit of minimal exposure to Toastmasters, but still needed to kind of get the grounding in what it's all about. This is not going to be a typical Toastmasters meeting because we have a couple of guest speakers, and their block of the program is going to be basically the first hour. Also, this is not a typical meeting for us. Usually we are online, but also in person. That's our in-person crew behind me doing their jazz hands to emphasize the fact that they are having fun and learning in a group setting. So we have a meeting place at the Panthers Ice Den in Coral Springs, where most weeks we are there, but we're also online, and we do also have members who are not local to us. So our VP of Education this year is from Idaho, and we've had people from other parts of the world as well. Member who spends part of his time in Miami and part of it in Italy. We've had him visit from both places. But our speakers today know all about being online. I learned a lot about, I know about operating online from them. And they also know all about the world, about traveling the world. They are the Geeks on Tour. They are fabulous. And that's why I wanted to have them here with you to share something of their story. They did something pretty brave a number of years ago. They sold their house, they bought an RV, and they set out on the world as itinerant speakers and teachers, teaching technology for travelers while traveling the world, with a business plan that, as I recall, evolved a bit along the way. At first, they thought that Jim was going to be going to these RV camps and helping them set up satellite internet. But it evolved much more towards the teaching people. Smartphone photography is the main thing. Chris is the author of the book, Learn Google Photos, which is a bestseller out on Amazon. But they also teach things about how to figure out stuff with mapping and GPS and other things that you need to do to find your way to the right place at the right time. They'll tell you more about their story as we go along. And in fact, I don't necessarily know exactly what they have mapped out. So I'm going to turn it over to Jim and Chris Guld and let them take us through the origin story for Geeks on Tour. I'm pretty sure there was not a radioactive spider involved, but it's still a good story. And we're going to learn a little bit from them. You might learn a little bit about smartphone photography along the way, but you're also going to learn behind the scenes how they built this business and how they were able to present effectively online, in person, and in mixed settings. Jim and Chris Guld, everybody.
Woo! Thank you, David.
All right.
And
good morning, Club Awesome. And greetings from Early Bird Toastmasters. We are ready to go, are we? I guess we are.
We are Geeks on Tour. That is the name we came up. And you know how a name is really important. And it was when we came up with that name, after having seen some other on tour that we started to take off. We solidified because we came up with the name.
Yeah. So we always start off with, do you think your smartphone is smarter than you? And you have questions about your iPhone, your Android device, or the cloud. Oh, and how do you learn? It is so important to do this.
Well, we are geeks who teach. We have a website with hundreds of tutorial videos, articles, and newsletters collected over the last 20 years.
And we have a YouTube channel with over 10,000 subscribers now. And I see that it's been put into the chat down there. That's great. So how do we get started? Do we make any money at it? And what do you need to know if you want to try and do this stuff?
So what we're going to do with this workshop today, 45 minutes to an hour, right, is we're going to give you a little sample of what we do teach. I mean, hopefully you'll learn something about what we teach today.
And she has to teach. This is her job. It's her passion. She is a wonderful teacher.
I do have some friends that put their technology away when I come over. If they're not ready to learn something, they better not have it out. I have to teach them. So we're going to give you a sampling of our teaching and tell a bit about our early story, and then our YouTube story, that was later, and then a few tips if you want to teach online, if you want to produce online content. Got to say hello to our fellow Toastmasters, though. That's one reason why we do what we do, because we have both. Well, David knows my original story. I was actually president of a junior Toastmistress club in 1964. My teacher was in Toastmistress. They didn't allow women in Toastmasters back then. And she said, you go and be a Toastmistress. And I've been joining clubs ever since, so.
And I've only been in it since the 90s.
Only, yeah.
So I am president of the Early Bird Toastmasters Club.
And we knew David from long before, but when he started the Online Presenters Club, we joined that because that's when we were living on the road. We could not go to our Early Birds in Fort Lauderdale because we were in South Dakota or something. So
Much too early.
We were a member of that club for a while, but now we are back living in Fort Lauderdale and doing most of our teaching online. So you're not supposed to do that, are you? Oh, do I not have an counter dinging me for anything?
Teach.
Okay. This is a pretty good-looking group, don't you think, Jim?
I think so. We should get a selfie.
We always like to take a selfie with our audiences. So I'm going to I have both a Samsung and an iPhone. I'm going to be using my Samsung for this. And you put it in a selfie mode, and then we want...
Oh, let me get those up a little bit better so we can see the group. There they are.
Okay.
That looks good.
And I take a picture. Now, another little tip for taking selfies.
Stop. I hit the mute button while I turned around.
You did that on purpose, right?
I did, because you know something? Things will happen.
Something always goes wrong with this.
All right, so.
Okay, but now you couldn't see, but I noticed that photo looked awfully cloudy, and I need to clean the lens. Now, I'm not talking about these lenses. I mean, they need to be cleaned when you take regular pictures, but when you take a selfie, the selfie lens is right on the face of the phone. It's bound to have some greasy fingerprints on it once in a while. So now I'm going to take that picture again, and I'll show you the difference. Okay. Now I want to show you what those pictures look like. And this is another example of what we do we have what's called a document camera here. So I can put my phone underneath the camera and you can see the phone
I think I need to
and
restart that.
and my fingers, so you can really understand what it is that is going on. Now this is a Samsung, so if you have a Samsung, you very likely use that gallery app to see your photos, but I do not. I use the Google Photos app. So I open that and go to Photos. And here are the photos I just took. There is the one when the lens had a greasy fingerprint on it. The only difference between this one and that one is that I cleaned the lens. So that is let me make that bigger so you can see it more. Okay, so that's the one after the lens was cleaned. That's before the lens was cleaned. Huge difference if you do have a greasy fingerprint on the selfie part of your screen. So clean the lens, and it doesn't have to be, I mean, a nice little piece of microfiber cloth is good, but you can use a t-shirt. It's covered with a very hard glass that doesn't scratch easily. So I always clean the lens before taking a picture. And that is our number one tip for photography. And it also shows you we try to do things that are practical. We don't teach a ton of bells and whistles. We teach practical tips. All right. The next practical tip, stop the ringing. Boy, should somebody in the audience at the Toastmasters International Convention needed to learn this one. We were in the international speech contest and somebody's phone starts ringing.
Now they were told, everyone was told right at the beginning, silence your devices. He even asked if anyone had a beeper in the audience.
Put it in your pocket.
Okay.
So I'm going to call Jim, and his phone should start ringing in a second.
What's that noise?
And we're in a theater or we're in a seminar. What do you do?
I got... Just squeeze it. I stopped the ringing. The call is still coming through.
I still hear it ringing on
Okay.
my side.
But all I needed to do was squeeze it, because when I squeeze it, I'm going to touch one of these buttons on the side or the top, and that will stop the ringing instantly, but it will keep the call going. So it's very important. Now she's hung up and it's gone away, but I could have excused myself and gotten up and moved, but the ringing has stopped, and that's so important. Okay.
All right. And the third, have you ever heard that Toastmasters always does things in threes? We learned that over at the International Convention. I've always done things in three. Anyway, so this is the third tip, and then we're going to go on to some other things.
And then we'll do more.
And this one is video 635. Once we all started taking pictures with our phones, we ended up with a plethora of pictures, and we said, what do you do with them all? My favorite choice is use Google Photos, and here's a little pre-recorded video.
Hi, this is Chris Guld with Geeks on Tour, and in case you don't know, I'm a big fan of Google Photos. One home for all of your photos, because it's in the cloud. In this little video, I want to give you a short visual representation of why I think Google Photos is so special. If you're anything like me, you have photos all over the place. You have photos on old phones. You have photos on old computers on their hard drives. You have photos in old cameras, lots of camera cards around. Maybe you've put some onto CDs. And then there's just all the photos that we take with our phones. Well, Google gives you storage in the cloud for all of your photos. It's not just anywhere in the cloud. It's your account in the cloud. private for your eyes only. It is under lock and key with your username and password. So what you do is you just start uploading all of your photos to that account. All the old photos from cameras, from CDs, from computer hard drives. How about thumb drives? How about CDs? And then, of course, all the new photos you're taking from your phone. Once they're all collected in the cloud, Google just waves its magic wand, and now they are all in date order by the date taken recorded on the photo itself. Let me show you what this looks like then on a phone or on a computer. So this is my Android phone, and there is the Google Photos app. And here's pictures I just took with this phone today, but I can go back, grab this little button, notice the dates go by. I can go back to 2004, and you know that this phone did not take these pictures. I am seeing all of the photos in the Google Cloud. All I need is a connected device and the Google Photos app logged into my account. So here is my iPad, there is Google Photos. It's looking at my same account. I can tell by the little account button in the upper right. And same thing, I could go all the way back to 2004 or before and look at all of the pictures that have collected in my Google account in the cloud. On a computer, you don't have an app or any piece of software. You just go directly to the cloud using a web browser. You go to Photos, or if you're on a Chrome browser, you can click on these little dots here and go straight to Photos. You need to sign in with your account, but the next time you do this, you probably will already be signed in like I am. I see that that is my account, and here are the same pictures that I saw on my phone and on my iPad. And here are the same dates. I can go back to 2004 or beyond and see all the same pictures that are in my Google account. Google Photos, one home for your lifetime of photos and videos.
So I see a question in chat, and we will stop specifically for questions at one point but I want to answer this one. I love answering questions. So you can delete everything in the phone to increase storage, right? And yes, there's one command. It's called free up space. It will delete all the photos from your device storage that Google Photos knows has already made it up to the cloud. But, big caveat, if you take a picture with your phone and it's on your phone, then it gets copied to the cloud, you now have two copies. That is a backup. But if you now delete the one from your phone, you only have one copy left. So don't do that until you have made a second copy somewhere, because you know computers, stuff happens. You don't want to have your only copy be the Google Photos copy. Okay. And just to make a point, what if I lost this phone that I just took those two selfies with? No problem. Can you show the screen? I can just go to my computer, because I have the settings set to back up to the cloud immediately, whether it's on cellular or on Wi-Fi. So I can just go to photos.google.com on any computer, make sure I'm signed in with my account, and there are those two pictures I just took. So no fear of dropping my phone overboard. I have those pictures. All right. So that's a sample of our teaching. Now a little bit about us. I have some more.
Okay.
So who are Geeks on Tour?
Well, I'm Jim.
And I'm Chris, and that's it. We are not Geek Squad, okay?
We don't fix your computer. I
And we
used to
don't-
do that. I don't do that anymore. That was in a different life.
And our name is not being used for all those spam emails. That's
I got
not
one
us.
yesterday. Somebody
not
said,
us.
you know, you're spamming me. They got this thing from the Geek Squad saying that they need to pay, and don't
No.
do that. That's a scam. Okay, but
It's just the two of
geeks.
us.
We both worked in technology. We can prove we're geeks because we wear these funny hats when we do our "What Does This Button Do" show, and it's really a lot of fun. I worked in technology training and support, and Chris had the very first computer training center in South Florida and started that in 1983 and ran it from 83 to 96. And we're both passionate about smartphones and technology and how they have changed our lives. So
My computer training school here in Fort Lauderdale started with Apple IIe's. Then we went to IBM PCs, and when we had to network them, that's where I found Jim, and that's how we met. He knew how to use Novell networking and get all the classroom computers hooked up to each other. So I hired him, then I married him.
she could stop paying me. So I used to work for Chris.
He still works
I
for
still
Chris.
work for
Yeah,
Chris.
okay.
Just got to get that straight.
But we are teachers. Mostly it's me who's the teacher. He's the real geek, the real techie, and I am the teacher. I had a computer training school called Computer Savvy from 1983 to 96, and then Geeks on Tours from 2004 to present. We started out teaching spreadsheets, Excel, VisiCalc actually, WordPerfect. And now we teach only the fun stuff. We don't teach business stuff anymore. We teach fun stuff, technology for travelers, smartphone basic skills, and smartphone photography, and our specialty is Google Photos. And we are travelers.
Oh, yeah, we love to travel. There were three things that got us together: computers and technology, our love for travel, and scuba diving. And we got to do that just this week.
Yes, we went over to the Bahamas for the Toastmasters International Convention, and we spent a couple extra days scuba diving. Okay, so let me back up a little bit. So we actually make money while we sleep. Doesn't that sound good? You wake up in the morning and you get an email from PayPal saying you've got cash. That is so cool, but it doesn't happen overnight. Jim and I wanted adventure. When 5 years into our marriage, we bought an RV, sold the house, sold everything, and took to the road. Now, the money from selling the house would last us a little while, but then we had to figure out a way to make money. Well, in my computer training school, I was charging $1,000 a day to teach corporate employees how to use their software. We learned that RVers need to learn how to use their computers. And they gather for these big things called RV rallies. Why wouldn't the rally operators just love to pay us $1,000 a day to teach our seminars to the RVers?
Seemed like a good idea at the time, right?
It sure did. Not only would they not pay us $1,000, they wouldn't pay us $500. They wouldn't pay us $100.
They wanted us to pay them for the privilege of having an audience. That didn't sound good to us.
That put me into a tailspin of fear that we are not going to make it. I'm not afraid of much. I'm not afraid of snakes. I'm not afraid of heights. I'm not afraid of public speaking. Thanks to Toastmasters, right? But I am deathly afraid of running out of money. And we had left all our family and clients and support system many miles behind. What are we going to do? Well, you get up, you brush yourself off, and you figure it out. The way RV rallies work is that they make some of their money from vendors. So the vendors have something to sell, they put them in this big hall, and then they say, do you want to give a seminar about your product? So they wanted our seminars, they just didn't want to pay us. So we had to come up with a product to sell. Here's a picture showing you what an RV rally looks like. It's just like a convention, but you don't need a hotel. Everybody brings their own hotel room with the RV. So they get a fairgrounds or something, and they just park thousands of RVs. We came up with making tutorial videos. We would burn them to DVD and sell them so we could have a booth in the vendor hall and give our seminars, and people watching our seminars wanted to buy the DVDs.
And it worked. Sort of. A little at a time.
And these are the kind of audiences we would get. I mean, still, live audiences is the way to go if you can. We feel very lucky that we started out in this world of business with these large live audiences.
It was a lot of fun. So we figured out how to make a little bit of money.
So selling the DVDs, but selling the DVDs, we had to be in person. How about our website? How can we make a living just on our website? Well, you put the tutorial videos on a website, then you have to figure out how to program a way to charge for it.
Well, Chris was always a programmer.
Yeah, right. No, I may be a geek, but I am not a programmer. I like to use these things and figure out other people's programs, not write my own. But I didn't have any choice. If I wanted to have a website that would charge people to watch our videos, I had to figure out how to program it. I learned HTML, Dreamweaver, Cold Fusion.
Ooh.
And it took some real focused concentration and work while we were parked at some campground in Tennessee with our satellite dish on the roof of our RV getting us internet.
And that was way before Starlink, too.
Yeah.
There was a picture earlier of our old satellite internet dish. Amazing.
So I got it to work. But then not too long after that, WordPress came out and plugins for WordPress that can do membership. And it's so much easier that way. So our website is a collection of all of our content. And a lot of it is free. Just go to geeksontour.com. You can browse away, and all sorts of stuff there is free. But if you want it all, we have a payment process. $60 a year gets people in. And lo and behold,
it worked.
If an RV rally had paid us $1,000 a day, we would be behind the 8 ball now, as opposed to what we are, because this can go on even between those rallies.
Right. So we have a way to make money even when we're not in front of an audience, and it doesn't have to do with our direct time to be on there, and it just works out so well. So all of it is there.
Yeah, this is always my dream, to make a living that wasn't directly tied to my hours. I mean, before this, I was actually a lawyer, and I had to write down every 10 minutes of time that I could bill for. I hated that. So now we work hard, but we can also go to the Bahamas for a week and still wake up to a PayPal email that says, you've got cash.
Right. And then, because of the evolution of the internet and the cloud and all of the things that were going on, YouTube live streaming became available to us. So we wanted to do that.
This is where I have a slide to stop for questions, but I don't see any. If anybody have a question they want to say live, you can raise your hand. Otherwise, we'll go on to the next chapter in Geeks on Tour, which
I have a question.
Okay.
Do you manage to find yourself with any preference on your phone tools, Android versus iPhone?
Good question. Yes, Android is best for me. She has both. I've had both. But for me right now, I say Android. I have a Pixel 7 Pro, and it's a Google phone, and it has no junk on it the way that Samsung's put a lot of their own stuff in there. It's a strictly clean phone. There are others out there. I like that. Chris just got a new iPhone.
Yeah, iPhone is easier to teach because it's more the same all across the board. If you have an iPhone, you have this. But what I say is I don't care whether you pick up your iPhone or your Samsung as long as you're using the Google apps.
That's
Because
key.
Google Photos works just the same almost on an iPhone as it does on a Samsung. Gmail works just the same on an iPhone as it does on a Samsung.
Yep.
Google Calendar works just the same.
And you can share those calendars with people who are on iPhones or Androids.
So I don't care which one. Well, but what we always said to people, if you're thinking about getting a new phone, which one do we recommend? Whichever one the most of your family has.
Where you have tech support locally, get what they
That's
have.
true.
If everybody's on an iPhone, it's a good reason to have an iPhone.
I do wish everybody used the Google apps, though.
That does simplify things, especially for us.
I see a hand up. Christine Campbell?
Yes, I just can't say you guys are so cool. You are just hitting all the right buttons on everything that my husband and I have been looking at, traveling with an RV and that. Do you have lessons on getting started in that department besides the Geeks on Tour part, but getting started on an RV life and all that encompasses it?
Well, you could always read our personal blog. I've kept a personal blog since 2003 with all of it. But no, because there are lots of other people who do.
Yeah,
And
there
we
are
could
good people out there that get into the nuts and bolts of how to create that.
And one of the great things to do is to join one of these big RV clubs that have the rally. They actually have pre-rally boot camps for learning all the basic stuff that you need to know. So we highly recommend FMCA, Family Motor Coach Association, and Escapees.
Or the escapers part of it. That's the working people part.
Yeah,
of
so the clubs,
escapees.
and they have a magazine. You know, it's very much like Toastmasters actually, in that there's little clubs and there's big groups.
And then one last little bit with that is how long did you do that? I would say
We were on the road full time for 14 years. We sold our house in 2003, and we did not have another house again until 2017. So and we had, well, two big RVs, and we downsized when we wanted to have the townhouse in Fort Lauderdale. Now we have a home base, if you will. We still like to travel extensively, and we have a small van camper where we can be out for several months at a time very comfortably. And we're getting ready to take a trip up north. We're going to the Northeast in just a few weeks and visit my old area, my old stomping grounds in South Jersey and Long Beach Island, New Jersey. And then we will fly to London from Newark and back, and then we'll do some more camping on our way home. How's that?
That's excellent. Thank you.
Andy?
Yeah, the question I have is I've been seeing different reports talking about Google taking away the free photo service and being replaced by unknown. So could you clarify whether their Google Photos are still going to be free, or is there going to be some special way of accessing them? Do you see what the roadmap is for them?
Yeah. Google Photos is not going away. It is their most popular product ever. I think they're getting close to 2 billion users now. They started out giving 100% unlimited free storage. That went away a couple of years ago, but you still get 15 gigabytes of free storage, and that's well enough to get you started. And it's $2 a month, $20 a year to get 100 gigabytes of storage. So it's all good. It's all good. And there is nothing out there that can compare with the features for any less price.
Thank you.
And it's not just cataloging, right? It's some photo editing features too.
Oh, it has fabulous editing.
A lot of what Chris teaches. The business question I thought I'd throw at you is how to decide what's free and what you charge for. I think that is kind of the $1 million question of doing digital businesses, because the giving us stuff away for free is an important marketing technique. But I know you've had to change the formula several times over the years about what should be the membership only content.
It really is interesting.
We've had to flip a couple of times.
Yeah.
You're right.
When we started out, it was 100% anything that was written was free. Articles, newsletters, and that still is pretty much true. And videos.
Newsletters are always free.
Videos are what we would charge for. Access to the videos. But with YouTube, and so he'll be talking about our YouTube channel in a minute. With YouTube, you have to make it free. The whole point of YouTube is to get eyeballs, is to get viewers. If you put it behind a paywall, that's not gonna. So now we have our YouTube show. What does this button do? And it is free, but the show notes, the written description of everything that's in there, that's behind our paywall. So it's interesting. We keep changing our minds all the time. So that's why I say there's a lot of stuff for free. If you want everything, it's the money.
Well, we should probably let you finish the material you've prepared,
Okay.
and then we were hoping to maybe have some table topics after 8:00, but we might even go a little bit past that if people have good questions that they want to ask.
We'll work on it.
All right.
All right.
So why did we start with YouTube, Jim?
That's the great because we could. That's the reason I'm into this technology stuff, and I found out about YouTube and live, and I was in Hangouts on Air early days, and we were doing
Google Plus
and Skype and doing the things like that, and YouTube and live streaming was available. So we started out small. Really, it was easy to do. So pre-recorded videos versus live streams, it's exciting.
Heart-stopping, exciting, yeah.
So I did a whole Toastmasters speech a while back about lights, cameras, and sound, and what do you need, the equipment that you need to do all of this. And if you see right here, we have a lot of equipment right there. This is us live right now. So we have cameras and microphones and monitors all over the place. This is Chris's document camera. It's just all the tools that we need to do these. But you don't have to do that. You can start out with a smartphone.
Yeah. And we did start out in the RV.
Right.
And talk about things that can go wrong.
Oh boy, electricity is important when you're doing.
Electricity.
And if you have to make that electricity with a generator, noise can be a big problem. So there's sound. But do we make any money at it? Well, yes and no. We thought we were starting to make some real money.
With YouTube.
And because we got to a certain level, you need 1,000 subscribers in order to monetize a YouTube channel. So we talked about how to get a YouTube channel and how to monetize it. And it's a gradual process. And we didn't even try to make money at YouTube. We were making our money, or we were hoping to make our money from our membership website. Well, now YouTube has its own membership stuff. So some people are putting all their eggs in that basket, and they're saying, okay, Google, YouTube. YouTube is owned by Google, Alphabet. And they're saying, okay, you have control of the money. I'll take whatever crumbs you give me. We have our own membership website where we can make money on our own. That's ours.
Yeah, so on YouTube, it's incredibly easy. All you have to do is check the box saying, I allow you to put ads on my videos that are on YouTube, and you start making a few cents per video. We actually were watching the money go up just a couple months ago.
And it was zooming up we were getting a lot of extra new views. And YouTube somehow figured that that was suspicious somehow. All those new views were suspicious. But we were getting them because we were working at increasing the number of views and then subscribers, and hopefully funneling all that into our membership. That's the idea.
So 2 months ago, we got a deposit from Google for $560.
For a month.
That's starting to be countable money. The next month,
Boom!
140.
And there's no recourse. Well, there's some recourse, but it's jumping through hoops, and and it's not that big of a deal for us because we have that other way. But yeah, you can make money, but they have control over your money, so you need to be careful.
That's why we really, really like the membership model. You have control, whatever you want, and we do it on a yearly basis rather than a monthly, and it works well, and
really
you
does.
can make money while you sleep.
Both ways.
But we started in YouTube back when there was no such thing as making money on YouTube, 2009, and it took us from 2009 to 2023 to hit that 10,000 subscribers. So it's not something that happens overnight. It's not easy.
It takes work, just like any other job.
And it is fun, though. It is really fun. Okay, so yeah, David, would you put up the poll? I'm just curious here of how many people have a YouTube channel. And yeah, oh, Jim is going to do it.
No,
Oh, he did it. Okay. So, do you have a YouTube channel? I mean, we have lots of other tips about YouTube channels if you want, but not if nobody has one. We watch a channel called YouTube Channel Reviews.
Yes.
And they are so good. They will actually look at your YouTube channel and tell you what's right and what's wrong, and they are really, really good.
Okay, it looks like we have some responses back there.
Okay, it looks like it's either no or yes, but not very active. Okay. So
about half and half.
Yeah, YouTube channels are fun. You can make some money at them, but don't expect to get rich. So how about a little bit more teaching?
Okay.
About more of our stuff. Finding a lost phone. So I had just set the stage. I took photos with this Samsung phone, and I saw that I'm not going to lose the photos even if I lose the phone because they've gone up to Google Photos. But what if I do lose this phone? Here, you steal my phone. All you have to do, and I'm using the Samsung because a lot of people are already familiar with the iPhone's Find My. So, and it works just the same. But on an Android, you can just go to any computer and say, Find My Android. And then click on Find My Device. Now first, you have to make sure you're looking for the right device because we have several Android devices under my account. And it is not the Google Pixel 7 Pro that I'm looking for. it is the Samsung. So I click on the Samsung, and first thing it does is give you a map. So I can see from this map that it is in the house. I mean, it's not in New York or in California, it's in the house. Therefore, I just want to play a sound. I click on play sound. There it is. I use this all the time to find the phone in the couch cushions. I mean, what do you normally do? You say, "Hey, honey, can you call my phone?"
I can't find my phone.
But and what if honey isn't in the house? So you can just go to your computer, find your phone, play a sound. And if perchance you do see that it is in New York, meaning somebody has stolen it and taken it on the plane, you can erase the device. You can secure it and put a message on the home screen that says, "This phone is lost or stolen, please contact," and put some other contact. So that's another just little tip. I love giving short, practical tips. All right. And the next one is, now, how are we doing on time? Should I?
It's 10 minutes.
Yeah, I think I'll skip that one. And so I say, I'm the teacher. And I've learned a lot over the years about teaching the smartphones. I used to try to put together whole courses. I have found that people aren't interested. They don't have the stick-to-itiveness to go through a whole course. And yet they really respond to short, practical tips. So that's mostly what we do. We've made it our business to not forget the beginners. Now, it doesn't mean that all of our topics are ranked beginners, but we try not to forget the beginners and explain things at a basic level. Now, sometimes we do live demos, and sometimes we do the recorded. I do want to play one more recorded one right now, 728. Because
Hi, this is Chris Guld with Geeks on Tour, and I want to show you one of my very favorite features of Google Photos. I call it Navigate to a Photo. Step 1, you open up Google Photos and find the photo of the location where you want to go.
I can change that.
We travel a lot by RV, and whenever we park at a campground, I take a picture of our site. Then, when we leave to go for grocery shopping or out to dinner, I know I can get back there. This is how you do it. You just swipe up on the picture, and you should see a map. If you don't see a map, that means that your camera was not set to record the location when you took the picture. And we have another video on that. Now you see I can just open in Maps. I can choose Google Maps or any other. And it's showing me on the map where this is. Now I can get directions and start. And I know that I'll be able to get back to that exact same site. Navigate to a photo using Google Photos.
I use that one all the time. If you want to get directions to some place so that you can get back there, just take a photo. Take a photo.
It's so handy.
If you use Google Photos. It doesn't.
That's key.
And yes, you can do it on an iPhone as long as you're using Google Photos. The Apple Photos app that comes with iPhone cannot do that. So that was a pre-recorded video, and when I did the lost the phone or cleaned the lens, we did that live. And I like to have both. The live demos, I think, I'm a little bit more engaged with the audience when I'm doing a live one rather than playing a video. However, a lot more can go wrong when we're doing the live one. For example, that clean the lens example, I've done that where the lens wasn't dirty. So they didn't see any difference. I have learned to make sure I use a little bit of chapstick, and I make sure that I have a greasy fingerprint on the lens before I do that live demo. And the pre-recorded are going to have no problems, but maybe it's not as engaging. I'm curious from you. So the next poll, the other poll, live or pre-recorded.
Jim, do you want to launch it?
Yeah, I'll get it.
So just to see, did you like one over the other, or did you not even notice? Live or recorded? You find the live more engaging, the pre-recorded more engaging, or you didn't even notice? And for us also, having a pre-recorded lets us have a little breather.
Oh yeah, sometimes we need that.
Live presentations can be stressful.
Like when the sound gets muted and you don't notice, and you're coming back from one of those videos, and all of a sudden... So, be careful.
So I see that some of you still did like the live better. So I know some YouTube presenters who always pre-record. And yeah, I think you need some of the live, but so we like to mix it up, have a little bit of both. And I'm happy to see that 47% didn't notice the difference. And 40% liked the live the best, and only 13 liked the edited ones the best. And that's the key, right? When you're doing live, you can't edit it. When you have a recording, you can edit it. Okay, I think we're just about ready to wrap it up, and then I'll leave it up to David if he wants to have more questions.
All right.
Our website, I'm not quite done yet.
Keep going.
Our website, geeksontour.com. Please go check it out. And this slide presentation is there in a place on the website called Classes. Every time we give a presentation to groups such as this, we have it on a page. It is free for all for a few weeks, and then it goes behind the paywall. And that's how you find it. You go to geeksontour.com/classes, or just on the home page, it says classes, and find the August 25th Club Awesome class. And you'll see those slides, and links to videos are live links. So our tips for building online content. I wanted to make it fit into GEEKS.
Everyone has to have an acronym, right?
And I think I got it okay. So, number 1, get to the point. Nobody likes to watch a YouTube video where there's a bunch of just chatting and introducing the people who are in the live chat and etc. Get right to some tip or other. Deliver value with as little fluff as possible. Edited, no. I'm referring to live streaming. So should you have some content which is not edited? Edited, no. But watch out for problems. A speaker at the International Convention gave an acronym for dealing with problems. When you have sound outage or internet problems, ATM, acknowledge, take responsibility, and move on. Edited, yes, meaning canned, pre-recorded videos. There are good reasons for having edited recordings.
You can edit all the ums and the ers and the ahs and the nos. You can edit those out if it's pre-recorded.
You can even do it automatically with a software called Audacity. Audacity will watch your video and cut out every time where you said ah. If you want to make a living with online content, you need to control the cache. because something like YouTube or Patreon, you never know when they might pull the rug out from under you.
Right. And it can only take three strikes and you're out of YouTube. So there have been people who have had tremendously large audiences on YouTube, and for one reason or another, it could be a copyright infringement or multiples, anything, YouTube can stop that whole income just like that.
And then our last one is share the presenting. Most YouTubers that you see, I think, is just one person, one talking head. We're a little different in that we do it together. I am mostly the teacher. He is mostly the technology making it happen person. But when he's having problem with the technology, I can sing and dance. And we highly recommend that. Some YouTubers we know have a partner on the other side of the world. I mean, you don't have to be in the same room.
We like it in the
and
same
it makes
room.
it fun. It makes it fun. All right. So the best, if you'd like to learn more or keep up with us, what we're doing, the best way is to go to geeksontour.com, click the button to sign up for our free newsletter, and we will keep in touch. I'm Chris.
I'm Jim.
And we are Geeks on Tour.
All right. Well, thank you guys. We did have some questions in the chat that we should try and get back to.
Okay.
I think it was VJ from Boston was asking to know a little bit more about the membership model that you follow. So part of it is, I know that the technology part is you have your WordPress set up so that certain content can be designated as members only. You use a few different WordPress plugins for that. So that's sort of the technical side of it. What else would you say about what it takes to make a membership model work?
Well, get a WordPress developer like David Carr to help you when you need help. That's a big one.
Thanks for the commercial.
There are lots of membership plugins. We use one called Wishlist.
And it's old.
And it's because it was like the first one out and we were early adopters. What it allows you to do is just say for any page or post on your website, it can be open to everybody or it can be locked down behind a username and password. And you have to pay money in order to get a username and password. I don't know what else to... The best way to build that membership is with the live audiences. I mean, we were so lucky.
You can create a mailing list. We got people to fill out subscription cards to our mailing list. And we built that mailing list and we gave a free newsletter and news. We didn't inundate that mail list with a lot of garbage. It was all good stuff. And we have a newsletter that's gone out every month for years and years.
Nearly 20 years now.
So that builds.
So when we would have those audiences
that was key.
Of 400 people, most of them would fill out a card to get on our email list. How do we do that now? The biggest draw we hear now is YouTube. You know, how did you hear about Geeks on Tour? YouTube. So YouTube has turned into our promotions.
And it can be yours too, if that's what you want to do.
We also had a question about TikTok. That's what the kids are doing these days. Are you doing TikTok?
Well, we're not kids.
and our audience is not kids. We're not trying for that audience. I understand that is a great way. If you have some engaging content and you like doing that stuff, I want to call it foolishness, but it makes a lot of money, so I don't know. So
we wanted to allow a little bit of time for table topics, partly so people could get a little bit more of a sense, anybody who's new to Toastmasters, of what the experience is like. We normally have a portion of the meeting that's devoted to impromptu speaking practice. But I did see a hand up from Dr. Byrne. Why don't we make that the last audience question? And of course, these guys are they're easy to find. They're making themselves easy to find. So go to Geeks on Tour, and there's lots of other ways you can get in touch with them. But Dr. Byrne.
Yeah, just the other day, I was on YouTube for responding to a promotional from Tony Robbins, and they were having a large group meeting. It was actually 5 hours, and 250,000 people were on that program, to give you an idea of how large these things can get. And it was amazing. And then once you get in, like Jim and Chris said, they used it to build their email list so that if something else happened, they at least own the mailing list. And they use it to do their programming, but also they used it to upsell for a variety of other courses and programs that they had. So again, the concept or the model of something free of value gets you in the door, and then from there you're upselling seems to be a pretty common thing on YouTube.
That's a great point. And talk about somebody that's been around for a while. Tony was on TV and radio long before even the internet and the World Wide Web. So it takes time. Not, you hear about these overnight successes, and that usually took a lot of time to get there.
Right. Well, I'm sure Tony's going to be calling you guys up as guests to teach him some things pretty soon now.
We saw him in Fiji, didn't we?